We're developing apps for iPads, and we've chosen the iPad or the tablets as we see that as really the future. The thing that's amazed us is just the uptake already in schools. I mean, I don't really know what's happening around Australia, but I do know a little bit in Victoria with the Education Department. They've got 13 schools that they're trialling iPads with, and then there's all the schools that off their own bat they've gone out and bought iPads, such as St Columba in Essendon. They've bought iPads for all their students in year 11 and 12, and the teachers I know out there have said things that have just amazed me. They've said it's changed teaching. They don't recognise it now. All of a sudden the students are just passionate about getting their hands on their iPad. They're all cooperating with one another, showing each other how different ways of, solving problems, just with what software to use, how to import things. But the thing that really bowled me over was when they started talking about, Katie Mariner out there was mentioning to me that, she goes in and she does HSC English and she writes up a number of things on the board. The students just pull up their iPads and take a photo of the board and they record all her lectures. Then they swap them around with their friends, especially friends who are studying the same book but have another teacher or at another school, and they get that audio recording of that lecture. And I was just thinking, it just completely changes education as I'd thought of it, or as I remember it.
I think it will continue to be integrated in more and more fundamental sorts of ways. I suspect tablets will I suspect rapidly become the means for students to record their work. I would imagine some years down the track the notepad, the physical notepad, will be replaced with a digital notepad, and then all bets are off as to what you want to do in the classroom. You can deliver then different footage for every student sitting where they are. So it will only keep growing, I think, and probably becoming more interactive as well, so the students can engage in an activity for 40 minutes and then everybody posts their results back to the rest of the class.
Providing resources for students to create their own media content, which is not just in the media classes but pretty much across the curriculum. It's very much, the kids have got access to so much more to materials and AV recording equipment than we ever had. When I was at school in the 80s, I remember when I was at school engaging in those sorts of media equipment, but being the nerd that I am, I was the exception rather than the rule. But these kids now, they've got access to this all the time. They've got the iPhones with their cameras on it. They mash up. They engage in media in all sorts of different ways, which generations didn't do beforehand. So it's a whole new way of engaging with it. The material is becoming a lot more mainstream. It's a lot more everyday for them than it wasn't in previous generations, and that's why I see it. If students are moving fast into the 21st century, we as educators need to as well.
I think it's interactive. Maybe one of the best examples I can give is when I've got my students in front of me in the computer lab, and I'm introducing a particular topic, and it could be something about cell animation perhaps, and I might give an example. Before I've almost finished the sentence, they've quickly Facebooked and they've found YouTube, and they found another 100 samples that I've never even seen before. So they're very, very quick to come in with some other things, and the worst part about that is that they call each other over to have a look at what they've just seen. So a little bit hard to get their attention back again. So for me, it's the ready access that is terrific, and it just broadens their outlook. The hard task is to keep them focused on the task at hand, particularly in the short time spans we have in teaching in university.